Manchester United have made another signing. Mazraoui joins from Bayern Munich for an initial fee of around £50 million. Today we're going to be looking into how he'll fit in at Manchester United. Is he a better option than Aaron Wan-Bissaka? Does he have injury problems? All that will be revealed in this video. I'm Statman Dave. Of course, if you are new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and get into the comments below. Who will be the best partner for Mazraoui on the right wing? Anyway, let's get this party started. Signed for initial fee reported to be around £15 million, Mazraoui excels in a possession-based side. But what does his profile actually look like? Mazraoui is an inverted wing-back. He came through the Ajax Academy playing in a plethora of positions, but his best performances at club level have come as a right-back. Technically very strong, which is highlighted by a good first touch, a creative passing range, and overall good weight of pass. Mazraoui is also tactically strong, with an excellent appreciation for space. In possession, Mazraoui is an excellent support player who likes to combine with teammates using short passes. Due to his profile, this makes him very good in wide triangles, where Mazraoui often finds himself as the deepest player. From his genuinely narrow position, Mazraoui can easily recycle the play, find passes inside, dribble or turn out of pressure, or progress the ball to the winger outside, creating ample space for the winger to attack the opposition's fullback in a 1v1 situation. What's more is that when the opposition move wide to deal with the winger, Mazraoui will exploit the space inside with underlapping runs. Mazraoui is capable of playing all three positions in the triangle thanks to his technical profile and tactical awareness. So before we dive into how Mazraoui will fit in at Manchester United, let's go to Amsterdam. Erik ten Hag coached Mazraoui in Amsterdam for a number of seasons. In fact, Mazraoui made 137 appearances under Erik ten Hag, 101 more than he's managed under any other coach in his career. He's played nearly 10,000 minutes under Erik ten Hag, so tactically understands what the Dutchman will be required of a right back. In terms of position, Mazraoui mainly played as a right-back for Erik ten Hag. He spent a bit of time playing in central midfield, a little bit of time defensive midfield, a little bit on the left, and only started 2 games as a left-back. Note that for a little bit later on in the video. But Mazraoui very much operated as an inverted wing-back on that right-hand side. As we know, Ajax like to attack with 5 players, a lot of width from both of the wingers. They had a number 8 that would move into attacking midfield, and the other 10 would shift. Mazraoui's job in this system was very much a supporting role, or at the base of the triangle on the right-hand side. When we're talking about how European football works and the best teams, they always seem to have either a diamond or alternatively a triangle on one of the flanks to overload that area. How Ajax set up is Antony would operate as an inverted winger, holding the width. Berghuis would operate in that inside channel, and of course Gravenberch would move into that number 10 area. But what this meant for Mazraoui very much was he was on this right-hand side playing that supporting role. So if the ball was on the kind of left-hand side of the pitch and Ajax were drawing the press over, Mazraoui very much would shift into this inverted position to basically be the kind of supporting link man between that right flank. When we're talking about that triangle, we're talking about the fullback, the attacking midfielder, and of course Antony the winger. But very much in this system, Mazraoui's role was to either recycle the ball, drop it back to the centre-backs, or recycle it through defensive midfield, or alternatively play short to Berghuis, or more frequently play the ball out to progress the play to Antony. In terms of that, it was a classic kind of inverted fullback, inverted winger role. In a sense of Mazraoui would be quite narrow, and it opened up a lot of space for Antony to commit the fullback 1v1. But Mazraoui's job wasn't done then. When the ball was progressed into those zones, he'd constantly make underlapping runs, and this was good for Antony. Antony very much is a player that you don't really want to be isolated 2v1. He struggles in that situation. He doesn't have the required pace to beat 2 players. In 1v1 situations, if you can get the right skill off at the right time, he will beat a man. But why Mazraoui and Antony was such a good partnership on the right-hand side for Ajax was those underlapping movements that constantly Antony would have an option to play to. So instead of having to take 2 men on, Mazraoui could potentially spot that space on the inside, make that run, and then get into a dangerous crossing position. Alternatively, with Mazraoui as well, obviously very tactically able, like playing 1-2s as we previously looked at then, with that inside move, into the channel to open up the space. But alternatively, if the the attacking lineup was set differently, and let's say Antony was playing a little bit more inside to support the play, Mazraoui is very happy to provide that overlapping option and being a threat on the opposition's backline. That's one of the best things for me about Mazraoui, is tactically he's very, very aware of where the space is. If the space is on the flank, that's where he'll move out to. He's done that at Bayern Munich and at Ajax. If the space is on the inside, let's say Antony's holding the width, Mazraoui will play in that area, either as that attacking option, making the run in behind, or more frequently, just dropping back as a bit of a support option to recycle the play or look for those through balls. Again, a good characteristic of Mazraoui, does like to play balls into the channel, be it for the attacking midfielder or wide player inside to run into the channels, or for the centre forward. He's got a good range of passing and will look for those balls, direct balls in behind the defence, or finding the centre forward, which again will be good for Rasmus Højlund. There was a really good goal that Ajax scored against Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League. A really quick move from right to left of Mazraoui in that inside channel, opened himself up and slotted a lovely left-footed pass into the feet of Haller to finish off the move. So Mazraoui, as this supporting inverted wing-back, saw a lot of the ball, and that is reflected in the numbers, completing on average 60 passes per game, which is quite a lot for a fullback, but a fullback that's very involved in the football. In terms of what he did with that, he used the ball very well and ranked in the top 2% of fullbacks in Europe's next 14 leagues that season for progressive passes and passes into the final third. Numbers above 9 per 90. Great numbers. And we understand that Mazraoui is that type of player, that he is a player that will, be deep in a deep position and will progress the play to dangerous areas, as mentioned before, to the right fullback zone. Other statistics that are quite interesting as well, dribbles completed, really good. Mazraoui isn't that type of player that's going to do you on the outside. His stride length isn't long enough, he doesn't have the acceleration or pace or skills to beat a player on the outside. But where he's very, very good is when teams would press him high and he's in a slightly deeper, more supporting role. Very good 1v1 at slipping, dropping a shoulder, that Moroccan dribbling style to beat the pressure, which allowed Ajax, but also will allow Manchester United to draw teams on, beat them deep, and then it will allow them to have more numbers in the final third. And again, in terms of dribbles completed, he ranked in the top 5% at 1.71 per 90. Not a massive amount, but doing it at the right moment at the right time. In terms of other numbers that were quite interesting at his time at Ajax, he was also very good at making runs in behind the defence. We spoke about his ability to, spot the play, to move wide, to move inside when the winger's wide, but also he liked to make those attacking runs into the final third. When you look at his numbers per 90, his goals scored was in the top 1% and his expected goals in the top 2%, meaning not only he made the right runs at the right time, but he was getting a good quality of chance in the penalty area. Something that's slightly underrated about him is when he's moving ahead of the line, he can get shots away and can score goals. A technical player, very, very gifted with his first touch, making him very dangerous in the penalty area. And finally, when we're looking at the defensive numbers, let's take a look at the Champions League numbers from that season. One thing that really stands out is his tackles per 90. 3.84, ranking him the top 4% of fullbacks in the Champions League in the 21-22 season. Very aggressive off the ball. He will go up there, and jump and look to put pressure on the ball and win it back, something that's part of his game. So defensively, not a weakness, maybe not a massive strength, because I think the biggest strength for Mazraoui is his possession play, but definitely not a weakness. And let's take a look at his numbers from last season. Mazraoui at Bayern Munich ranked in the top 5% of fullbacks in Europe for pass accuracy, short passes completed, progressive passes, passes into the final third, goal creating actions from passes, tackles in the final third, and shot creating actions from defensive actions. Showcasing not only can he do it in the Eredivisie and the Champions League, but also the numbers are good in the Bundesliga, which means it should translate to the Premier League pretty well. So how will Mazraoui fit in at Manchester United? For me, he's going to mainly play right back. That's where the most of his minutes will be. I think as a sub, he could be used in central midfield, could be used on the left wing, and occasionally, only occasionally at left back, but more on that later on. I don't think Mazraoui is suited to play left back in the Premier League. I think Manchester United have a lot better options in the squad that should be playing ahead of Mazraoui in that position. But at right back, he'll be fantastic. Very much operating as an inverted wing back, similar to his role at Ajax under Erik ten Hag. When Manchester United are looking at players at the moment, they're very much focused on a game model. That game model is looking to be a possession-based team with attacking intent. It's not a counter-pressing team, it's not a defensive team. Hence why Mazraoui being in the squad is a lot better than looking at someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka. For all Wan-Bissaka's strengths, or maybe one of his only strengths, is his 1v1 defending. Very good when facing a winger up in terms of pulling those slide tackles in, but struggles in other parts of the game. From a possession-based perspective, I'd rather have someone like Mazraoui in the squad over Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Aaron Wan-Bissaka really takes United's ability to play out from the back. Many times last season we saw teams filter United down the right when Wan-Bissaka was playing there, especially with Rafael Varane inside, and United just simply couldn't play through. Moving to more of a possession style and system under Erik ten Hag and Ineos, Mazraoui makes a lot of sense. Much more sense than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. If United were Everton, playing under Sean Dyche, yeah, Wan-Bissaka makes a lot of sense. He's a player that's excellent defensively, could win the ball back and then counter-attack. For Manchester United, though, there's a lot more requirements of that position in possession, which means Mazraoui is much better as a player in that role. So what will Mazraoui bring Manchester United? Well, I think first and foremost, it's that dribbling from deep, cutting inside and looking to combine with his teammates. I think from a space perspective, Mazraoui is excellent in space. He's a player that loves finding the right areas, the right pockets, and then getting on the ball. But he's also a very good recycler of possession, a player that's going to have a high pass accuracy that excels from a short passing perspective. As United get better under Erik ten Hag and the passing options are very close to him, he'll be the guy recycling the ball and looking to get back on it. In terms of the final third, as we mentioned before, Mazraoui does enjoy a 1-2. His movement off the ball is very, very good. He's very good at finding that space. So finding those 1-2s with the winger ahead of him is going to be something that works. Also, he mentioned his long-range passing, hitting the channels, either with an advanced forward as the striker, running into the channels, or the nominal winger running in there. Mazraoui will find those passes as well. But also he understands that if the winger ahead of him, does check inside, does move into those more central areas, Mazraoui will provide himself as an outlet in the final third. I really like his timing on the opposition's backline. His timing of run is very good. He's very patient. And usually he's in a lot of space because he'll notice the rest of the team's bunching up into a certain area. He'll attack that space and look to get the ball in the box. There's 3 examples of really good crosses for both Bayern Munich and Ajax I want to bring up. The first 2 are against Darmstadt. In both situations, he waited for completely the right moment to move into that advanced area, to get into the space wide, and then the crossing was very good. Mazraoui is more of a passing crosser than a volume crosser. He's not someone that gets to the final third and consistently slings the ball into the box. He's a player that waits for the right time, gets his head up, finds his teammate as he did 2 times against Darmstadt in the Bundesliga. Got another example for Ajax. Again, similar thing where he gets his head up and finds Tadic at the back post to finish off the move with a fantastic volley. Again, Mazraoui, the timing, the spatial awareness, but also the crossing in the final third, not a high volume, but of high quality, which could lead to a lot of goals for United. So with Mazraoui at right back, who is the best partner to play ahead of him? Anthony, who played with at Ajax, Ahmad, who's a very inside technical forward, or Alejandro Garnacho? For me, I think first and foremost, let's look at Alejandro Garnacho. I think in terms of style, Garnacho matches pretty well with Mazraoui. He's naturally a winger, a player that's more likely to go on the byline and get crosses into the box than Anthony and Ahmad, with both of those guys being left-footed. Of course, Garnacho's left foot is pretty underrated. He's quite good at cutting in and getting shots away. But we'll operate from that wide area, which will allow Mazraoui to kind of move inside and become either the supporting option to link with Bruno Fernandes, dropping the ball inside and then getting it to the Portuguese Magnifico, or alternatively, he's an option to make those underlapping runs. With Garnacho being right-footed as well, it's an easier pass to make than being a left-footer. He doesn't need to cut inside and shift it before playing that natural ball on his right foot, which could see a lot of profitability for Mazraoui in that inside channel. Combining a natural winger with an inverted fullback is a classic way to get the best out of both positions, and I like that combination. But I also like the fact that Bruno Fernandes is going to have a player that's really going to link to him well, with Mazraoui being more of a central supporting player, dropping the ball back and then playing through, and then Garnacho and Bruno Fernandes operating together could work well. One thing we mentioned previously, that Mazraoui will spot the space if Garnacho's moved inside to provide that, width. But more naturally, we'll see Garnacho more operating wide, Mazraoui inside channel, Bruno Fernandes in that attacking midfield zone. So let's move on to Antony. Mazraoui played with Antony at Ajax and looked great in the Champions League in the 21-22 season as a duo. The pair almost had a telepathic understanding on that right wing in terms of movement, support play and underlapping runs. As we mentioned previously, Antony struggles at times when he's got to beat two defenders. He doesn't have that pace to naturally beat the man. But Mazraoui, in terms of how they played together at Ajax, of course the support play was really good. It gave Antony an option to instantly play inside, to recycle and maybe switch the ball, but also allowed him to play that pass in behind the defence with Mazraoui making the run. That really helped Antony's game, allowing him to be a very, very good player in that season's Champions League. In terms of creativity, his XA and assist numbers were really good, and part of that was Mazraoui being an option for him to play to, him operating very much in that wide position, that wide area, and looking to cut inside. Again, Mazraoui's got that natural awareness that if his teammate's doing that, Mazraoui has that game intelligence to make the run on the outside. This is going to be a common theme in this video. Space, tactical awareness are some of the biggest strengths that Mazraoui has got, and his relationship with Antony was very good. But also I think Antony's very much that kind of combination player. He does like someone to play to or play off with 1-2s and so forth. So Mazraoui will be instantly, benefit Antony from an attacking perspective, just having someone to bounce off in the final third, but also overload the opposition with Bruno Fernandes, let's say Mazraoui and Antony, very much dropping to that right wing to create that kind of wide diamond, of course, with Lenny Yoro operating at the base, or maybe Matthijs de Ligt if he is signed as well. But Mazraoui and Antony already have a relationship, which means they could be a very good unit for Erik ten Hag, and it could be down to the likes of Garnacho forging a really good understanding with Diogo Dalot, giving Erik ten Hag those two units to play at certain times, allowing United to have different tactical setups versus different teams. And finally, let's look at Amad. This guy has got to get minutes this season. Finished the campaign off in great form. In terms of Amad's style as a footballer, he does like to drive inside. He likes to move inside, either with the ball or alternatively starting from more of an inside channel position. What that means for Manchester United and Mazraoui, give him a slightly different attacking structure. You're probably going to see Marcus Rashford operating in the wide area, Bruno Fernandes inside left, Amad inside right, and then Mazraoui would have to be the nominal winger. Someone you mentioned previously probably doesn't have the ability 1v1 to beat a fullback with the ball at his feet, but very much what he could do from these positions is either operate dropping 1-2s and moving off the ball in behind the defence, or alternatively just becoming a runner off the ball for Amad to find him. Amad's that type of player that's got a lot to his game. I'd say he's more of a goal scorer than a creator, but saying that, he's also very good at finding passes, which could lead to a very dangerous right-hand side for Manchester United. Arguably, a lot of the play will be focused down the left, with Rashford out there, with Bruno Fernandes out there, potentially Højlund or Joshua Zirkzee driving to that side. So basically looking at Mazraoui as being that kind of switch player, something that he could do very well. As you mentioned previously, he is the type of player that can move off the back line very well, but also has got a good first touch to bring down long balls, which could mean a big switch from Bruno or alternatively Rashford, or playing through Amad Diallo and then playing the ball out there. Can allow Mazraoui to use that depth crossing in the final third to find the striker in the box. But I think that relationship, Mazraoui would probably operate more as a traditional wing-back in this situation, with Amad Diallo as an inside forward, allowing United to build slightly differently. What that means as well is probably like to see Kobbie Mainoo in build-up, so he could use his carrying to break the line, or his passing range to beat the opposition, but again operating slightly different with United, maybe building with a 3. Mazraoui is a natural wing back with Amad Diallo inside. So we've spoken a lot about Mazraoui operating as a right back, and this for me will be his primary position and where he'll see most of his minutes. I don't really like him at left back for a number of reasons, but in terms of Manchester United, I think they're quite stacked in that position when we think about it. You've got Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malacia, who are the 2 first choice players. Then behind that, you've got young Harry Mass, who looks very technically good on the ball, looks like he can invert, is brilliant in tight spaces. Then moving forward, you've also got Martinez and and Diogo Dalot. I think there's enough players there for Manchester United to play these guys at left back, allowing Mazraoui to play as a right back. Diogo Dalot looks really good in that position. We've seen him score goals, starting moves from the base of midfield. Manchester United's shape would be a little bit different. Mazraoui potentially could be operating even deeper. We've seen him play in a back three for Bayern Munich this season, so he very much could do that role, taking his support role even deeper and being a ball player. The stats we mentioned before, his passes into the final third and progressive pass numbers are really good. So him being a deeper player in this back three makes a lot of sense. But in terms of why I don't like him in that left back area, it's simply because he's not played there. It's similar to Gareth Southgate playing Kieran Trippier at left back at the Euros and at the World Cup. The fella's not played there at all in his club career. As we mentioned before, Mazraoui has started just 2 games under Erik ten Hag in 137 games at left back. Why I think it's a bit of a problem is because Mazraoui, from a defensive perspective, is quite right-footed. When he's on the ball, he's quite left-footed. He can shoot, he can cut in, he can cross. He probably doesn't have the finest passes, your Kevin De Bruyne or Bruno Fernandes passes, but who does, being a right-footed fullback? But he's very good on that left foot. Defensively, though, is a little bit of a problem. There were games last season, one against Real Madrid, with Rodrigo driving at him. He showed him too much on the inside, and Rodrigo broke through. And Saka as well did him on the outside. I think one of the big problems with Mazraoui is he tackles a lot with that right foot, which means he's going across his body, which means you can see it coming, but it also takes more movement. You've got to turn your body round to make that tackle, versus on the natural side, on the left foot, it's a lot easier to stick a left foot out and make the tackle. Also, more naturally, when you're a left-footed defender on the left side, you're going to show the opponent the byline, which is the least dangerous area, which is exactly what you want to do from a defensive perspective. I think the other thing from watching the Bayern Munich games last season when he played left-back, Thomas Tuchel's an absolute maniac. One of the games against Real Madrid, he played Rafa Guerreiro in midfield, a natural left-back, and played Mazraoui at left-back, who can play midfield. It just all didn't make any sense in that game. And I think that's one of the things that sometimes he gets his body position a little bit wrong. When he should be opening his body up to the left-hand flank and showing the opponent down, he was out of his focus on the inside. Slight tactical things that could definitely be worked on, improved, but I just think he's a much better player at right-back, and I really do believe that. I think United have got a lot of depth to play in that zone, so it would be kind of silly to play Mazraoui out of position, as well considering how good Diogo Dalot's been in that position as well, covering for both Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malacia. But I think this signing really gives Manchester United a lot of depth in that right-back area. Depth in possession as well, being dominant on the ball. As mentioned previously, Aaron Wan-Bissaka just isn't good enough on the ball. And yes, he's been used in certain games under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, playing deep and counter-attacking, which is absolutely fine and got the job done. But I think for Manchester United going forward and how they need to improve is they need to be wanting the ball in every single game. They want to be dominating the opposition every moment. So someone like Mazraoui makes more sense than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. One of the things that's thrown at Mazraoui as well is his injury record. But actually, if we break it down, there's some pretty random injuries. He spent 10 games out last season with an inflammation of his heart due to COVID-19. The season before, he missed a chunk of injuries because of an eye injury. These are freak situations. And when you compare the games missed this season versus last season, Aaron Wan-Bissaka missed more games than Mazraoui. This is something that needs to be said, because it appears that Manchester United fans think Mazraoui is injury prone, but an eye injury, an inflammation of your heart, doesn't seem like a consistent thing versus having a bad ankle, bad hamstring, bad knee, and so forth. So for me, Mazraoui is a very, very good signing and a player that will improve, Manchester United. I think it's definitely an improvement. In conclusion, Manchester United are not Everton. And it's not bad being Everton. You got Sean Dyche's manager. You want defensive players to play on the counter-attack. United need to be a possession-dominating team. So Man United will concede fewer chances, they'll create more opportunities to score goals. We all want to see more attacking football. Wan-Bissaka does not facilitate attacking football. Mazraoui does facilitate attacking football. With the rest of Ineos's signings as well, it makes a lot of sense. Ineos are either buying players that are super young, super talented, the player that United signed from Arsenal, the striker, alternatively Lenny Yoro. You're looking at Joshua Zirkzee being a player of great value, but also Mazraoui. Signing him for an initial fee of 15 million quid. That is a great deal. So far, Ineos having an absolutely worldinho of a transfer window. Mazraoui, I love the signing. I think he's going to improve United and he's a much better option than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I do think Diogo Dalot will probably be United's starting right back still. I think he offers a lot in attack and defence, massively improved his defensive stuff last season in terms of winning tackles, in terms of tackling dribblers, in terms of his aerially dominant and clearances. There's still work to be done, but Diogo Dalot is a player that consistently improves, and his game is getting so good. Probably could have finished with about 10 assists last season if United could have finished off his chances. So Mazraoui will come in as the backup to Diogo Dalot, and a player that should not be playing left back, but could also do a job in central midfield. I think that's another interesting position for him. He also played at times at centre-back for Bayern Munich. So tactically very aware. When he played for Ajax's under-21s, he played 7 different positions, but he didn't play left-back. So still, just a thing to note. Played central midfield, played defensive midfield, centre-back, right-back, left midfield, but didn't play left-back. A key thing here. But anyway, guys, they're my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below what you have made of this signing. Will Mazraoui be a success at Manchester United? And who is his best partner? Get into the comments below. We'll see you later.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel.